Hello there. Before we begin, dim the lights. Get comfortable. And if you haven't already, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps more than you think, and tell me, where are you watching from tonight? It's always fascinating to see just how far these quiet stories travel in the dark. Now, let's go back. Far before cities. Before empires. Before written history itself, imagine a time when early humans sat quietly around a fire. The night stretching endlessly around them. The world silent. Unpredictable. And full of things they didn't yet understand, and then something strange happened, a plant. A leaf. A drifting smoke rising slowly into the cold air, and for the first time, a human mind began to feel different, not sick, not asleep, but altered, slower, quieter, detached from reality. At first, they didn't understand it. Was it a gift, a mistake, or something far more mysterious? Because long before modern life, long before science could explain anything, humans were already experimenting with their own consciousness, searching for ways to escape pain, fear, boredom, or perhaps something deeper. Tonight, we explore the strange and surprisingly ancient story of when humans first began to get high, and how something so small, a simple plant, quietly changed human behavior forever. The world of our ancestors was raw, untamed, and filled with sounds that could unsettle even the bravest heart. A distant howl of a predator, the rustle of leaves in the night wind, the subtle drip of water from a cliff, these were the natural rhythms of life, unbroken by the hum of civilization. In this silence, humans discovered not only survival, but sensation. Picture a small group huddled near a fire, its embers glowing like tiny stars fallen to the earth. The flames crackled softly, casting shadows that danced across stone and bark. Here, in the heart of the wilderness, curiosity and danger intertwined. One among them picks a leaf, crushed between calloused fingers, and throws it into the fire. Smoke curls upward, carrying its scent into the crisp night air. Something happens. The air itself seems to shimmer. The firelight flickers in unexpected ways, and for a moment, reality loosens its hold. Minds, usually tethered to hunger, pain, and caution, float gently into a new space. It is subtle at first, a slight heaviness, a quiet laughter at the crackle of the flames, a sudden awareness of shapes and colors that weren't noticed before, and so it began. The earliest flotation with altered perception. Perhaps it was accidental. A curious nibble, a forgotten leaf, or a lingering inhalation of smoke. Or perhaps there was intention, an intuitive sense that this leaf, this plant, could take the mind somewhere it had never gone before. In this moment, humans were explorers of their own consciousness, navigating a world both external and internal. Pain could be softened. Fear could be muted. Even the relentless passage of time, the endless night, could feel different. And yet, there was mystery. The effects were unpredictable. Sometimes, a plant could bring laughter, other times, unease. Sometimes, visions, fleeting and strange, flickered across the mind's eye. No one knew why. No one understood the mechanism. And yet, the experience mattered. These early encounters planted the seeds of something profound, a realization that reality was not fixed, that the mind could be more fluid, more malleable than anyone had imagined. It would take centuries, millennia even, before humans began to understand, categorize, or control these experiences. But the spark, the first, subtle, and magical experimentation with mind-altering plants, had begun. Tonight, as you listen, allow your own thoughts to drift. Feel the slow, deliberate pace of time in this ancient world. Imagine the firelight warming your face, the night stretching infinitely beyond the glow, and a leaf, a smoke, a plant quietly opening a door to a new way of being. So relax, let your thoughts slow down, and let's step gently into a much older world, where even the mind itself was still a mystery. Long before the flicker of civilization, before the shaping of stone dwellings or the carving of simple tools into permanence, the world was immense, untamed, and mysterious. Humans wandered it with senses sharpened, not by knowledge, but by survival. Every sound, every shadow, every faint scent carried potential of sustenance, of danger, or of something unknown. Imagine the vast plains stretching endlessly under the soft twilight, where a breeze whispers through tall grass, carrying the scent of earth and rain. Trees rise like silent sentinels, their gnarled branches moving with quiet elegance. Rivers snake lazily across the landscape, reflecting the last light of the setting sun, creating patterns that feel almost alive. In this world, humans were observers as much as actors, their awareness constantly attuned to the nuances of their environment. Their minds were restless, always searching for patterns, always asking questions without answers. Why does the wind move leaves in such a hypnotic rhythm? Why does the river sing differently at dawn than at dusk? Why does a flicker of smoke from a distant fire capture attention so completely, pulling a gaze toward it as if it were calling? This was a world before understanding, before explanation, before the comfort of knowing. Everything carried possibility. A peculiar plant in the underbrush could be nourishment, poison, or something far more mysterious. A stone could be used to crack nuts, or to reveal echoes when thrown into a quiet cavern. The night was a canvas of uncertainty, and the human mind, though untrained, was exceptionally curious. It is here, in the gentle tension between wonder and caution, that early humans first brushed against the extraordinary. They did not yet comprehend cause and effect as we do now. They did not yet categorize their sensations or assign meaning to fleeting experiences. And yet, in the quiet moments, when the sky glowed faintly with stars, and the campfire was a solitary heart in the wilderness, the human mind began to explore beyond survival. Every encounter with the natural world was an invitation. The smell of crushed leaves underfoot, the unexpected sweetness of a berry, the subtle effect of inhaled smoke from a distant fire. All of these could ignite new sensations. Curiosity mixed with instinct, producing an awareness that was delicate, ephemeral, and sometimes unsettling. Consider the subtle beauty of these early nights, a lone figure reclining on the soft earth, staring at the sky as constellations emerge, feeling the rhythm of their own heartbeat echo through the stillness. There is no fear tonight, only attention, an acute sensitivity to every whisper of wind, to every movement of shadow. And in this attentive quiet, the human mind begins to notice shifts, the way colors seem richer under the moonlight, how sounds resonate more deeply, how time can feel slower or almost suspended. These were not yet the highs of plants or smoke, but the groundwork for perception itself. The mind, unburdened by explanation, could wander freely. Sensations became stories, and stories became meaning. Humans were not yet aware of how to alter their consciousness, but they were learning, slowly, that the world outside could mirror the world within. And in this silent, contemplative world, a remarkable truth emerges: humans have always sought to understand, to experiment, to feel something beyond the ordinary. Before writing, before ritual, before formal learning, they were explorers. Not of lands or oceans, but of perception, emotion, and the mysterious boundaries of their own awareness. So, as you lie back and listen, imagine the soft sway of grass under the night wind, the low murmur of a distant stream, the gentle flicker of firelight casting shadows that move like breathing creatures. Imagine a mind unburdened by expectation, free to wander, noticing subtleties in the world that might escape a modern eye. And know that even here, in this quiet world before understanding, the seeds of experimentation, curiosity, and eventually consciousness-altering discovery were quietly taking root. The humans of this time were not idle, they were learning, sensing, feeling. And though they could not yet name or categorize what they experienced, their fascination with the strange and the subtle was the beginning of a journey that would one day lead to the first encounter with mind-altering plants. And the strange, quiet highs that would change humanity forever. In the quiet rhythm of their daily lives, humans began noticing something peculiar. Amid the familiar flora of forests, meadows, and riverbanks, there were plants that seemed different. Not by sight alone, but by effect. A leaf nibbled, a root chewed, or the scent of crushed petals could stir the mind in unexpected ways. And when that happened, the world itself seemed to tilt slightly, as if a hidden door had opened in the landscape of perception. Picture an early human wandering through a shaded grove, moss soft beneath bare feet, the sun casting gentle rays through the leafy canopy. There is a moment of curiosity, an instinctual reach for something vibrant, strange, or aromatic. Perhaps it is a leaf that glimmers with unusual color, or a small berry with a scent both sweet and sharp. These first encounters were delicate and quiet, almost accidental. And yet, their effects were profound. The first taste or inhalation was subtle. A soft heaviness in the body. A faint shift in awareness. Colors might appear richer, shadows deeper, and the world slower, as if time itself had softened its edges. It is not intoxication as we understand it now, not delirium, but a gentle detachment from ordinary perception, a quiet, serene alteration of consciousness. Some early humans may have recoiled at first, startled by the unfamiliar sensation. Others would have been fascinated, exploring the boundaries of this strange internal landscape. The mind, unaccustomed to such deviations, both feared and admired its own plasticity. Every subtle change, every flicker of light on a leaf, every ripple in water, became an experience amplified, vivid, and slightly uncanny. In these moments, the seeds of experimentation were planted. Humans began to observe patterns. Certain leaves, roots, or flowers seemed to evoke similar sensations in different people. A ritual was not yet formed, but instinct guided repetition. The human mind, always seeking understanding, quietly inched toward an awareness that these plants could alter perception reliably, though unpredictably. Imagine the gentle light of dawn filtering through mist, an early human nibbling a curious root while sitting on a river bank, watching fish stir in the shallow water. A warmth spreads through the body, thoughts become fluid, and the sensation of connection between self, environment, and the larger rhythm of life emerges. There is awe. There is wonder. There is the first recognition that consciousness itself can be influenced, and that nature has instruments for exploration beyond mere survival. Yet, there was also caution. Some plants were dangerous, bitter, or bewildering. Others caused unease, confusion, or mild panic. Through trial, observation, and quiet experimentation, humans began to learn which substances invited exploration, and which demanded avoidance. These were the earliest lessons in the art of altered perception, a dance between curiosity, respect, and careful observation. What makes this period remarkable is not the plants themselves, but the nascent understanding of potential. Humans began to sense that reality was not fixed. A simple leaf could extend the mind's reach, allowing perception to expand beyond ordinary sensory limits. Time, space, emotion, and thought could bend ever so gently, revealing glimpses of a world more intricate, more layered, and more mysterious than previously imagined. So, as you drift in this calm, imagine the subtle shifts in perception, the first inhalation of smoke curling from a crushed leaf, the soft taste of an unfamiliar berry, the gentle shimmer of dawn on wet grass. Humans did not yet name these experiences. They did not yet craft rituals or stories to explain them. They simply felt them, quietly, deeply, in the stillness of an ancient world, and in these early encounters, the human relationship with consciousness began to change. The mind, once confined to survival, began to explore itself. The first highs were small, gentle, and ephemeral, but they were the quiet opening of a door that would remain unseen but profoundly influential throughout human history. Fire. The first spark of warmth against a cold world. The gentle crackle of flames reaching upward, casting long, shifting shadows. For early humans, fire was survival, light, and companionship, but it was also mystery. Its behavior was unpredictable, alive in a way that both comforted and fascinated. And within this flickering light, minds began to notice subtler changes in perception, alterations that whispered of worlds beyond immediate reality. Picture a small gathering around a fire in the twilight of the ancient wilderness. Smoke drifts lazily into the night, carrying scents that are strange, aromatic, perhaps even enticing. A human leans closer, inhaling unconsciously, feeling the warmth on their skin and the dance of the flames reflected in their eyes. It is in these moments that curiosity awakens, a quiet, insistent desire to explore, to understand, and to experience more. Fire was more than utility, it became a lens, a focus point for attention. Shadows cast on rocks and tree trunks appeared to move independently, the crackle of embers mimicking voices of a world just beyond comprehension. Humans began to observe themselves and each other, noting the way thoughts shifted, emotions flickered, and sensations expanded under the influence of smoke and flickering light. Some plants, when thrown into the fire, released unusual aromas, curling smoke that carried new sensations. The air seemed to thicken slightly, the senses became more acute. Colors softened yet intensified, shapes shimmered and danced, and the mind, untethered from the ordinary, wandered into realms it had never visited. The first highs were subtle, almost imperceptible, but undeniably transformative. Curiosity guided repetition. The human mind, always a careful explorer, sought patterns. Certain leaves, roots, or bark, when burned or crushed, caused consistent changes in perception. The fire became a medium of experimentation, a tool to reveal the hidden properties of the natural world. Humans were learning, slowly and intuitively, that their own consciousness could be influenced by external substances, amplified by the warmth, light, and ritual of the flame. Consider a quiet evening, the sky fading into deep blue, stars appearing gradually, and the smoke from the fire curling skyward like a gentle spiral. An early human sits slightly apart from the group, eyes half closed, inhaling a faint aromatic smoke. Thoughts drift lazily. Memories mingle with imagination. Time stretches. The ordinary boundaries of perception begin to blur, not violently, but softly, as if reality itself were breathing slowly, deliberately, in tune with the mind around it. There is awe in these moments. The human mind discovers that it can feel differently, see differently, and exist differently. Fire, smoke, and the natural substances of the environment become instruments, not just for survival, but for exploration. It is subtle experimentation, delicate and reverent, where each inhalation or observation carries both risk and discovery. Yet, there is caution. Too much smoke, the wrong plant, or an inexperienced hand could bring discomfort, confusion, or fear. Early humans learned to respect the delicate balance. Curiosity was tempered with attention, wonder tempered with mindfulness. And through these careful trials, a foundation was laid for understanding the delicate interplay between nature, fire, and consciousness. So, as you imagine this ancient night, picture the warmth of the fire on your face, the gentle swirl of smoke rising into the still sky, and the soft rustle of leaves in the wind. Think of a mind discovering itself for the first time, guided not by instruction, but by observation and instinct. It is quiet. It is intimate. It is the beginning of something profoundly human, the first exploration of altered states, sparked by the interplay of flame, smoke, and curiosity. In this delicate dance, the human mind learns a simple truth: reality is not fixed. Perception can bend. Awareness can stretch. And even the smallest flicker of smoke, carrying an unassuming scent from a leaf, can open the door to something larger, something quietly transformative. Not every discovery was intentional. In fact, some of the most profound experiences of early humans with mind-altering substances came entirely by accident. A fruit dropped into a stream, a leaf crushed underfoot, the scent of smoke drifting from a distant fire. Each small event held the potential to alter consciousness in subtle, astonishing ways. Imagine a warm morning, the mist lifting gently from a riverbank. A human bends down to taste a bright berry, unaware that its properties are unlike any other fruit. There is a moment of hesitation, curiosity nudging instinct forward. The berry is sweet, almost familiar, yet it carries a strange undertone, a subtle pull on the senses. After a few moments, the mind begins to feel different. It is neither frightening nor overwhelming. Rather, it is as if the ordinary world has softened its edges, revealing patterns, textures, and colors that had previously gone unnoticed. These moments of serendipity were quietly revolutionary. Humans did not yet understand cause and effect as we do now. They only knew sensation. The mind notices, remembers, and sometimes returns to the same plant, the same berry, the same root, guided by a mixture of instinct and lingering fascination. What begins as accidental ingestion becomes, slowly, deliberate exploration. Nature itself seemed to offer clues. The forest, the plains, and the rivers were alive with potential experiences. A leaf caught in the sunlight might draw attention, a root exposed in the soil might invite tasting. The world became a laboratory, though no lab yet existed. Observation and curiosity intertwined with survival, producing quiet lessons in the effects of plants, smoke, and other substances. There was subtlety in every discovery. Not every encounter produced euphoria. Some brought fatigue, mild confusion, or a gentle disorientation that passed quickly. These were not mistakes, they were data, experiences that shaped understanding long before formal knowledge existed. Humans began to notice patterns. Certain leaves, when chewed, induced calm. Certain berries, when consumed, produced gentle exhilaration. Certain roots, when mixed with smoke, expanded awareness. The mind, even in these early times, was an explorer. Every accidental discovery held potential. Each instance of altered perception revealed something about the world, about the body, and about the mind itself. Humans learned, quietly and slowly, that consciousness could be influenced in ways that were safe, subtle, and surprisingly profound. Picture a human sitting near a glimmering stream, watching the water ripple in the morning light. A small fruit rests in their palm. After tasting, they recline on the grass, eyes half closed, listening to the subtle hum of nature, the drip of water, the whisper of wind through leaves, the distant cry of a bird. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The mind notices previously unseen patterns. Colors seem richer. Sounds appear layered and textured. Thoughts flow like the river itself, meandering and serene. It is in these unplanned encounters that the earliest experimentation begins. Humans, guided by curiosity and observation, start to associate certain natural items with shifts in perception. Even without words or understanding, these experiences are recorded in memory, repeated cautiously, and shared quietly among groups. Accidental discoveries were not chaotic, they were gentle, almost poetic. Each event nudged the human mind a little further, expanding awareness and planting the seeds of deliberate exploration. And in these moments, nature itself became both teacher and companion, offering subtle lessons in perception, patience, and the delicate art of noticing. So, as you imagine this scene, picture the soft light of dawn illuminating dew-laden leaves, the muted browns and greens of the forest floor, and a small figure leaning toward a simple berry or root. The mind awakens slowly to new possibilities, observing the world differently, feeling differently, existing just slightly beyond its ordinary self. In the quiet of accidental discovery, humans begin their lifelong journey of exploring consciousness, one gentle, serendipitous encounter at a time. When humans first encountered plants that altered the mind, the responses were not uniform. Some recoiled, their instincts alert to the unfamiliar and mysterious. Others leaned in, eyes wide, curiosity flaring like sparks in the night. In this delicate balance between caution and intrigue, the earliest understanding of consciousness began to form. Imagine a quiet clearing just after dawn, the soft light filtering through trees onto a moss-covered floor. A small group of early humans sits in a semicircle, each reacting differently to the strange new sensation brought by a plant, a root, or a leaf. One leans back, a hand pressed to the chest, heart racing at the unfamiliar pull in the mind. Another tilts the head, a subtle smile tracing lips as colors, sounds, and textures seem slightly altered. Fear and fascination exist side by side in these early moments. Fear arises from uncertainty, the mind noticing something shifting beyond expectation. It is subtle, like a shiver running along the spine, or a sudden awareness of the forest's shadows as though they are moving with intention. Fascination arises from wonder, the sense that the world has more to offer than survival alone, that perception itself can expand. In these initial encounters, humans were learning about themselves as much as about the plants. The mind registers that change is possible. Ordinary reality is malleable. A leaf, a smoke, a fruit, each is not merely sustenance, but a potential key to another layer of experience. And in the reaction, whether fear or fascination, the seeds of experimentation are sown. Consider a small human figure sitting cross-legged on soft earth, inhaling a faint aromatic smoke, eyes widening slightly at the subtle shifts in perception. Beside them, another leans back with unease, a hand instinctively raised as if to shield from an invisible force. And yet, there is no chaos, only quiet observation, a shared stillness as the group navigates the unfamiliar terrain of consciousness. These moments of tension and wonder were formative. Humans were not yet storytellers or ritualists in the formal sense, but observation became knowledge. Noticing reactions, own and others, taught early humans about boundaries, limits, and possibilities. Some sensations were pleasurable, encouraging repetition; others were unsettling, demanding caution. Imagine the air thick with a gentle curl of smoke, sunlight breaking in soft beams through the canopy, shadows shifting across the faces of the group. Each subtle movement, each flicker of expression, tells a story. Fear and fascination coexist, guiding early humans toward understanding. Curiosity does not eliminate caution, it dances with it, forming a quiet rhythm of experimentation and awareness. The world itself seems to respond. A breeze rustles leaves as though whispering encouragement. A distant bird calls, melodic and slow, harmonizing with the gentle crackle of a nearby fire. In these serene, suspended moments, the mind learns that altered perception can be both safe and profound, that the unknown is neither fully threatening nor fully inviting. It is here that humans begin to recognize patterns. When a plant is approached slowly, with attention and care, it offers insight. When approached recklessly, it may alarm or overwhelm. The early reactions, whether fear or fascination, are lessons. And in this careful, silent observation, the first steps toward deliberate use of mind-altering plants are taken. So, as you imagine this ancient scene, picture a forest bathed in soft, muted light. Humans sit quietly, some alert, some mesmerized, smoke rising in gentle spirals, the earthy tones of moss, bark, and soil surrounding them. Notice how subtle gestures convey profound curiosity. The first experimenters in consciousness learned to balance risk with wonder, caution with curiosity, fear with fascination. These early reactions, recorded in memory and echoed in the quiet rhythms of daily life, set the stage for all future exploration. They remind us that human consciousness is curious by nature, sensitive to subtle change, and capable of discovering realms of experience far beyond survival. And in this gentle dance of fear and fascination, the story of humans and altered perception quietly unfolds. In the early world, humans did not live in isolation. Survival demanded connection, and tribal life became the framework through which daily existence unfolded. Food was shared, dangers were faced together, and knowledge was quietly passed from one member to another. Among these collective rhythms, the experiences of altered perception found their earliest homes. Picture a small tribe settling near a slow river, the morning mist hovering above soft earth. A group of humans sits in a semicircle, exchanging subtle glances and gestures. Some share the fruits of the forest, others the knowledge of safe plants and roots. In this shared existence, humans learned from each other not only which substances were beneficial or dangerous, but also how to interpret the sensations they produced. Tribal life magnified the subtle effects of early experimentation. One human experiences the first gentle alteration of perception, perhaps from a leaf chewed or a root tasted. Others notice the eyes widening, a quiet smile, a slow, reflective posture. Reactions are observed, remembered, and sometimes imitated. The collective environment provides both safety and guidance, allowing curiosity to flourish without recklessness. The tribe itself becomes a laboratory of consciousness. Knowledge spreads not through written words, but through attentive observation and repeated practice. A plant that relaxes one member may be noted and offered carefully to another. Always with attention, always with respect for the unknown. Social structures, elders, shamans, and caregivers emerge as guides in these explorations, their experience helping the tribe navigate the delicate boundary between curiosity and caution. Imagine a calm afternoon, sunlight filtered through leaves, highlighting the faces of the tribe in soft, muted tones. One member slowly inhales aromatic smoke from a small fire, another observes silently, a third gently places a leaf in their palm. There is no rush. There is no fear, only the quiet rhythm of attention, repetition, and care. The community holds the space, allowing individual perception to expand safely. Tribal life also shapes the meaning of these experiences. Altered perception is not just personal, it becomes shared. Stories are told, gestures repeated, and subtle rituals arise around fire, water, and forest. These rituals are not formalized yet, they are instinctive. Born from the recognition that perception can be guided and that learning together enhances safety and understanding, there is a gentle beauty in this communal exploration. Each human, though experiencing the world uniquely, is connected to others through shared observation. One's curiosity sparks another's, one's caution tempers another's recklessness. The tribe becomes a mirror of consciousness itself, reflective, attentive, and patient. Consider a quiet moment as evening approaches. Smoke rises from a small fire, twisting softly toward a fading sky. Members of the tribe sit scattered among moss and stone, eyes following subtle movements in the forest, ears attentive to the whisper of wind and distant bird calls. Each experience is recorded, internalized, and carried forward. Knowledge is fluid, subtle, and profound. Through tribal life, humans begin to understand not just the effects of plants and smoke, but also the social dimensions of exploration. Curiosity and caution are no longer only personal, they are shared responsibilities. The first seeds of communal experimentation, careful guidance, and the passing of experience are sown quietly in these early moments. As you imagine this scene, picture soft sunlight on faces, the gentle curl of smoke, the muted greens and browns of forest and moss, and humans moving slowly, attentively, and patiently. In this shared environment, early humans navigate a new dimension of experience, balancing individual perception with collective understanding. Tribal life becomes the guardian of curiosity, the vessel through which knowledge flows gently across generations. In the quiet, reflective rhythm of the tribe, the human mind discovers that perception can be expanded safely, that curiosity can be nurtured collectively, and that exploration of consciousness is not merely an individual journey, but a shared path. It is here, within the gentle embrace of the tribe, that the subtle experiments with altered perception begin to take root, carried forward by community, care, and curiosity. In the gentle rhythm of tribal life, patterns began to emerge. Early humans noticed that certain plants, roots, and smoke could create shared experiences of altered perception. These moments were subtle, quiet, and profoundly human. Over time, repetition led to informal rituals, small, deliberate acts that guided curiosity, strengthened bonds, and offered a shared path into the hidden landscapes of the mind. Picture a twilight clearing. The air is cool and still, scented faintly with smoke and crushed leaves. Humans sit cross-legged around a low, flickering fire. One holds a leaf in careful hands, another watches with attentive curiosity. Soft murmurs pass among the group, sounds not yet words, but expressions of observation, guidance, and subtle encouragement. These moments are unhurried, almost ceremonial in their quiet precision. Rituals in this early stage were not yet codified, but they followed instinctive patterns. There was always attention to safety, always respect for the unknown. A leaf is passed slowly, smoke inhaled with care, reactions observed and remembered. The tribe becomes a mirror of perception itself, each individual exploring their inner landscape while simultaneously connected to the collective awareness of the group. Shared experiences created empathy. When one human smiled softly, noticing subtle shifts in thought and sensation, others learned to interpret the changes and follow with gentle guidance. When another recoiled slightly from unexpected dizziness or confusion, the tribe adjusted, offering reassurance or simply patience. Observation became knowledge. Knowledge became shared wisdom. Imagine the soft glow of the fire illuminating faces in muted tones of brown, gold, and green. Shadows dance gently across trees, moss, and rocks, while smoke curls lazily toward a star-strewn sky. Every movement, every gesture, is significant yet subtle. The quiet repetition of passing leaves, inhaling smoke, and noticing effects forms a rhythm, a slow, meditative choreography of discovery. There is a profound intimacy in these early rituals. Humans are learning not only about altered perception, but about one another. Emotions, attention, and curiosity intertwine, forming bonds that are as much about understanding the self as about understanding the collective. These shared experiences create a sense of safety and trust, allowing exploration of consciousness without fear of isolation or danger. Even the environment participates. A soft wind rustles leaves as if responding to the group's quiet focus. The river nearby reflects moonlight in gentle ripples, enhancing the sense of calm. The flicker of firelight seems to move in rhythm with the human breath, amplifying the meditative quality of shared exploration. Everything is quiet, deliberate, and immersive. Through these rituals, the earliest humans began to see patterns in perception. Certain plants consistently produced gentle clarity or calm. Certain scents triggered subtle shifts in mood. Certain movements, gestures, or songs amplified the experience. And though these rituals were not formalized, they carried the essential structure of shared human discovery, attention, observation, and empathy. Picture a human offering a small root to another, soft firelight illuminating both faces, eyes reflecting subtle awareness and trust. One inhales, another watches, and a quiet wave of understanding passes among them. This is more than an experiment. It is a bond, a lesson, and a collective exploration of consciousness. In these early shared experiences, humans begin to recognize a simple truth: perception is not only personal, but communal. Knowledge, however subtle, becomes a thread weaving together the minds of a tribe. Through ritual, curiosity, and careful observation, humans learn to navigate the unknown safely, gently, and collectively. So, as you imagine this scene, see the muted glow of the fire, the curl of smoke, the soft expressions of focus and curiosity, and the quiet rhythm of movement and attention. Here, humans are discovering not just altered perception, but the profound human capacity to explore together, to feel, learn, and grow as a community bound by curiosity, empathy, and wonder. In this early weaving of ritual and shared experience, the first steps toward the human understanding of consciousness take shape. And in the quiet glow of the firelight, under the watchful eyes of the forest and stars, the journey of exploration continues, one gentle shared moment at a time. Life in the ancient world was not easy. Every day presented challenges: scarce food, harsh weather, predators, and the constant uncertainty of survival. Pain, both physical and emotional, was an inescapable part of existence. And yet, humans found ways to soften the edges of reality, to create moments of relief, reflection, and subtle escape. Imagine a small human tending to a minor wound by a riverbank. The sun is low, casting a warm, golden light across the water. Nearby, smoke from a small fire drifts lazily into the calm air. A plant with soothing properties is chewed, its aroma mingling with the scent of earth and water. Slowly, the tension in muscles eases, the mind quiets, and the sharpness of immediate discomfort softens. Humans discovered that certain plants, roots, or leaves could temporarily transport them beyond the immediacy of pain. The effect was subtle, a gentle relief rather than a violent escape, but it was enough to create a sense of calm and introspection. A scraped knee, a dull ache, or even the psychological weight of fear could be softened, momentarily suspended in the gentle embrace of nature and its gifts. Consider a human reclining near the embers of a dying fire, inhaling faint aromatic smoke. Eyes half closed, body relaxing, they are no longer fully in the harsh present. Thoughts drift lazily, moving away from discomfort, flowing toward imagined landscapes, memories, and sensations previously unnoticed. Reality does not disappear, it is merely softened, slowed, rendered less immediate. Pain is universal, and so is the desire to transcend it, even briefly. Early humans, guided by instinct and observation, began to recognize patterns in the environment. Certain leaves, when chewed, dulled ache. Certain roots, when brewed or inhaled as smoke, created a softening of anxiety, a gentle sense of detachment. In these discoveries, humans were not merely seeking pleasure, they were seeking a reprieve, a momentary shift that allowed the mind to rest, heal, and reflect. The escape was not reckless. Caution persisted. Not every plant or substance was safe. Trial and error, careful observation, and tribal guidance ensured that early humans could experience relief without undue risk. And the shared environment of the tribe amplified safety, allowing individuals to explore subtle shifts in perception without isolation. Picture a small group resting by a soft riverbank in muted afternoon light, smoke rising gently from a fire, faces serene, eyes half closed in contemplation. One human traces patterns in the sand absent-mindedly, another gazes at the reflective water, while a third inhales slowly from a leaf or root. The scene is quiet, still, and intimate. Pain, discomfort, and fear are temporarily softened, replaced by a gentle awareness of the present moment, the body, and the environment. Even harsh realities like hunger or cold could be mitigated through these early explorations of mind and plant. The effect was subtle, sensations were dulled, emotions balanced, the mind shifted gently into a calmer rhythm. Humans learned to recognize when and how to access this temporary relief, integrating it into daily life, observation, and shared experience. These moments also shaped empathy and social bonds. Seeing another member of the tribe find calm and relief encouraged collective care, awareness, and protection. Shared understanding of the ways in which plants and smoke could alleviate discomfort became a cornerstone of early knowledge and connection. So, as you imagine this scene, picture soft sunlight falling on calm waters, muted earthy tones of brown, green, and gold, smoke curling gently into the air, and humans moving slowly, mindfully, with the quiet grace of survival tempered by understanding. In these early escapes from pain, humans begin to grasp a subtle truth: reality can be softened, awareness can be guided, and the mind itself is a landscape to be explored and nurtured. In the quiet interlude of relief, the human spirit discovers both resilience and curiosity. Pain remains, reality persists, but in these gentle encounters, a subtle freedom emerges, one that allows reflection, connection, and the gradual unfolding of consciousness. And in the calm of these moments, humans begin to understand the delicate interplay between body, mind, and the natural world, quietly setting the stage for deeper exploration yet to come. Beyond survival, beyond food and shelter, early humans began to wonder what lies beyond the tangible world. The flicker of firelight, the endless sky, the whispering forest, all seemed to hint at something unseen. Altered perception became more than a momentary escape from pain, it became a bridge to something deeper, a gentle exploration of meaning beyond ordinary experience. Imagine a quiet evening, stars beginning to emerge through a velvet sky, the faint curl of smoke rising from a small fire. A human sits alone, eyes half closed, inhaling the aroma of crushed leaves. Colors shift softly, sounds gain depth, and the mind drifts slowly into a space where ordinary boundaries no longer hold. Here, perception stretches outward, revealing patterns and textures unnoticed in the waking world. This search for meaning was subtle, never forced. It was a gentle curiosity, a quiet questioning of what lay beyond the obvious. Early humans did not yet have words for concepts like soul, spirit, or consciousness, but their minds, influenced by plants, smoke, and shared experience, were intuitively reaching for them. The effect was meditative rather than mystical, exploratory rather than ritualized. Consider the stillness of the forest. Leaves rustle softly in the evening breeze. Water trickles in a distant stream. A human leans back, watching the flicker of firelight on moss and stone. Thoughts wander, tracing connections between patterns of leaves, the shimmer of water, and the subtle shifts in internal perception. Every inhalation of smoke, every taste of a root, becomes an invitation to observe, question, and reflect. The search for meaning beyond reality also fostered imagination. Humans began to see connections where none were obvious: spirals in a shell, the rhythm of wind through grass, the echo of bird calls. Sensations once unnoticed became symbols, hints of a broader order, a hidden layer beneath the familiar. Even without language, the mind was constructing maps of awareness, tentative guides to an unseen dimension of experience. Shared experiences reinforced this exploration. One human notices a subtle shift and communicates it through gesture or expression. Others observe, internalize, and reflect. Knowledge spreads quietly, collectively, not as doctrine, but as insight and understanding. The tribe becomes a network of perception, each mind gently influencing the other, creating an evolving awareness of the world beyond the immediately tangible. Imagine the subtle interplay of light and shadow as firelight mixes with moonlight, highlighting the calm faces of humans in reflective states. Smoke rises slowly, curling into the sky, as if bridging the earth below with the vastness above. Each inhale, each gentle taste, becomes a step further into the unknown, a soft opening of the mind to realms beyond ordinary perception. This search was never reckless. Humans approached with curiosity and caution, learning to navigate subtle changes in thought and sensation. Every encounter with altered perception became a lesson. Some paths offered insight. Others produced confusion or discomfort. Observation, patience, and repetition formed the foundation of understanding, allowing humans to explore safely while slowly expanding awareness. In these quiet moments, humans discovered the power of perspective. Ordinary events, like the ripple of water, the rustle of a leaf, the curling of smoke, could reveal something extraordinary when attention was focused, mind relaxed, and perception subtly shifted. The mind began to grasp that reality was layered, and that a gentle change in focus could reveal entirely new experiences. So, as you imagine this scene, picture muted earthy tones of brown, green, and faded gold, a human reclined near a softly crackling fire, smoke rising slowly into a starry night, eyes half closed in quiet reflection. The forest holds its breath, the river murmurs gently in the distance, and the human mind drifts into a space that feels at once intimate and infinite. In this delicate search for meaning beyond reality, humans began a lifelong journey of exploration, curiosity, and reflection. They learned that the world could be perceived in layers, that consciousness could be guided, and that even in the simplest moments, around a fire, under the stars, inhaling a subtle aroma, there existed the potential for profound understanding. And in the soft, meditative quiet of these moments, the seeds of human imagination, introspection, and wonder were quietly planted. As humans continued exploring consciousness, certain individuals began to guide others through these subtle journeys. They were not rulers, warriors, or craftsmen, but observers of the unseen, early shamans and spiritual leaders. Their role was delicate and profound, to understand, interpret, and carefully lead others through experiences beyond ordinary perception. Picture a quiet forest clearing at dawn. Mist lingers among the moss-covered stones. A small fire glows faintly, smoke rising in thin spirals. A figure sits slightly apart, calm and attentive, holding a bundle of leaves, roots, or herbs. Their eyes are focused, yet soft, reflecting the gentle authority of someone who has walked these inner paths before. Around them, members of the tribe sit in patient stillness, waiting, watching, trusting. These early guides were both curious and careful. They learned from experience which plants induced calm, which roots eased fear, which smoke encouraged reflection. They observed not only their own reactions, but the subtle responses of others. A flicker of the eye, a deepening breath, the tilt of a head, all conveyed information. In this quiet attentiveness, the role of the shaman was born, a mediator between ordinary reality and the unseen landscapes of the mind. Shamans were not priests in the modern sense, nor did they dictate dogma. Their knowledge was practical, experimental, and shared. They taught patience, observation, and empathy. They guided humans through discomfort, uncertainty, and unfamiliar sensations. A gentle hand might be placed on a shoulder, a reassuring glance offered, or a soothing smoke drawn. Their power was subtle, the ability to calm, guide, and illuminate the path through altered perception. Imagine soft firelight reflecting on the shaman's face, highlighting gentle lines of focus and experience. Tribe members lean in slightly, eyes half closed, absorbed in their own quiet journey while remaining aware of the guide's presence. The forest around them is calm, muted earthy tones blending with the soft smoke and morning light. Shadows move slowly, almost ceremonially, across moss, rocks, and tree trunks. Early spiritual leaders also became interpreters of the mind's subtle messages. A vision, a shift in thought, a sudden insight, these were noted, observed, and sometimes shared with others. The shaman did not claim to know everything, rather, they offered perspective, helping others make sense of fleeting experiences and integrate them into daily life. Curiosity, reflection, and understanding were their tools. Consider the stillness of the moment. A leaf is gently passed, a root chewed with care, smoke inhaled slowly. The shaman observes quietly, adjusting the pace, ensuring comfort, allowing each person to navigate their own internal journey. There is no rush, no pressure, only gentle guidance, patience, and trust. Every subtle movement and gesture carries meaning, reinforcing the connection between body, mind, and community. The presence of shamans also reinforces social cohesion. When humans learned to explore perception safely, guided by someone experienced, trust deepened. Knowledge was not hoarded, it flowed through gestures, observation, and quiet instruction. Through these guides, the earliest humans began to recognize that the mind could be expanded responsibly, collectively, and with empathy. Picture the soft curl of smoke rising toward the morning sky, the muted greens, browns, and golds of the forest blending seamlessly with the calm expressions of the tribe. In this scene, the shaman is both anchor and guide, a gentle presence amidst the quiet unfolding of perception. Their role is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet profoundly formative for the collective understanding of consciousness. In the guidance of shamans and early spiritual leaders, humans discovered a new layer of experience, the ability to navigate perception with awareness, intention, and support. They learned that curiosity could be tempered with care, and that altered perception, when approached respectfully, could become a path toward insight, reflection, and deeper connection with the self and others. And so, in these early moments of guidance, the first true teachers of the mind appeared, not of words or writings, but of observation, patience, and gentle insight. Through their quiet leadership, the human journey into consciousness continued, layer by layer, moment by moment, in the calm, reflective rhythm of ancient life. As early humans continued their quiet exploration of perception, they began to recognize a subtle truth: plants could do more than alter individual minds, they could connect them. A shared leaf, a common smoke, or a communal taste became a bridge between human experiences, weaving awareness, empathy, and understanding into the fabric of the tribe. Picture a soft dawn breaking over a mossy forest floor. A gentle fire glows, smoke curling slowly into the still air. Humans sit in small clusters, hands extended, passing leaves or roots to one another. Eyes meet, expressions calm and observant. There is no rush, no urgency, only the slow, deliberate rhythm of giving, receiving, and noticing the effect of these natural tools on mind and body. Plants became instruments of shared perception. One person chews a leaf, another watches quietly, a third inhales smoke. Slowly, subtle reactions ripple through the group, or a smile, a shift in posture, a deepening of breath. These changes are not dramatic, they are quiet, gentle, yet profoundly connective. In this way, humans discovered that altered perception could be social, communal, and relational. Consider the soft glow of firelight illuminating faces in muted browns, greens, and golds. The curling smoke seems to move with intention, linking humans together in a subtle web of shared attention. Each inhalation, each taste, each observation reinforces trust and awareness. In the calm of these moments, humans are not isolated, they are linked by experience, perception, and subtle empathy. The connection goes beyond mere sensation. Plants help humans perceive one another's inner states. A slight relaxation in the shoulders, a softened gaze, or a quiet smile becomes more apparent when perception is gently expanded. Early humans were learning to see and feel each other more deeply, guided by the gifts of nature. Knowledge becomes intuitive, flowing silently from one mind to another, building the early foundations of emotional and social intelligence. Imagine the quiet rustle of leaves in the forest, the soft murmur of a distant stream, the gentle curling of smoke from a fire. Humans sit in calm observation, exchanging plants and reactions with careful attention. Each experience is subtle yet meaningful, forming invisible threads of connection between minds. Through these moments, the tribe grows closer, more attuned, more sensitive to the nuances of shared perception. Plants also provided a framework for storytelling and memory. A shared experience under their influence could be remembered collectively, associated with gestures, firelight, or the sound of water. Knowledge was carried not only in words, but in sensation, in attention, in quiet observation of another's mind. The plant becomes both tool and medium, a bridge between individual consciousnesses. These moments were rarely rushed or loud. They were calm, reflective, and intimate. One human might pass a leaf with a soft hand. Another inhale slowly, while the rest observe silently, noting changes in posture, expression, or mood. Through repetition and attention, humans learn to synchronize their awareness, connecting not only through survival and ritual, but through shared internal experience. Even the environment contributes to this connection. Soft morning light filters through the canopy, smoke rises slowly into the calm air, and muted earthy tones of moss, leaves, and stone create a serene backdrop. Humans, connected by perception and careful guidance, sit quietly in the rhythm of nature, discovering that plants are more than sustenance. They are tools of empathy, understanding, and communal awareness. In these early explorations, humans discovered that the mind could be shared, subtly guided, and collectively experienced. Plants became instruments not only of individual perception, but of connection, nurturing the delicate threads that bound tribes together. Through calm observation, gentle experimentation, and attentive care, the human experience began to stretch outward, not just across the world, but across the minds of those who shared it. In the quiet, reflective calm of these moments, the first understanding emerged. Plants could open more than minds. They could open relationships, empathy, and the subtle, invisible networks that form the foundation of human connection. And in this gentle intertwining of perception and attention, the human story took another delicate step forward, toward deeper awareness of both self and other. As humans explored the inner world, subtle patterns began to emerge in thought, perception, and experience. Over time, these early observations formed the seeds of belief, ideas about the mind, spirit, and the unseen forces that shaped consciousness. Without words, without writing, humans began to imagine a landscape within themselves, a mysterious inner realm shaped by sensations, dreams, and the gentle effects of plants. Picture a misty morning in a forest clearing. Humans sit quietly around a small fire, smoke rising slowly and curling through the pale light. One individual traces patterns in the dirt, while another gazes into the flickering flames. There is a sense of awe in their expressions. Subtle curiosity reflecting a deepening awareness of the mind as something alive, mysterious, and worthy of careful attention. Early beliefs about the mind were intuitive, experimental, and deeply intertwined with the environment. Humans noticed that perception could shift in response to leaves, roots, or smoke. Dreams were not random, they carried meaning. Thoughts could wander, yet return with insight. Humans began to understand that consciousness was not a single, static entity, but a fluid, dynamic space, responsive to nature, ritual, and shared experience. Imagine a human inhaling smoke with slow, measured breaths. Their eyes soften, and the flicker of firelight illuminates subtle changes in expression. Another watches quietly, observing minute gestures, a slight smile, or a gentle sigh. Through these moments, humans began to perceive that the mind itself could be shaped, guided, and explored, and that such exploration could reveal patterns invisible in ordinary life. Beliefs about the mind were often intertwined with notions of spirit and unseen forces. A rustle of leaves could be more than wind, a reflection in water could hint at hidden truths. Early humans interpreted altered perception as a bridge to knowledge, a way to glimpse what lay beyond immediate reality. Plants became allies in this understanding, their gentle effects fostering insight, reflection, and connection. Consider a small group seated near a river, observing their reflections on water and the soft movement of smoke. A leaf is passed carefully from one human to another. Faces are calm, eyes attentive. Humans begin to attribute meaning to sensation, to explore patterns in thought, and to imagine unseen networks linking self, other, and the wider world. These are not fanciful beliefs, they are early frameworks for understanding consciousness itself. The mind becomes a space of discovery. Humans learn that attention shapes experience, that perception is fluid, and that subtle interventions, plants, gestures, and focused observation can open doors to understanding. Even without language, even without formalized knowledge, early humans were mapping their inner worlds, discovering that awareness itself could be guided and shared. In these moments, humans also observe one another. They notice how altered perception changes posture, gaze, and gesture. They begin to imagine unseen forces connecting individuals and influencing thought. The mind is no longer a private, hidden realm, it is a landscape of subtle interaction, shaped by nature, community, and attention. Imagine the flicker of dawn light on moss, smoke curling softly into the air, humans sitting quietly, observing both themselves and one another. Each gesture, each shift in expression, each inhale of a leaf or root becomes a clue, a lesson, a piece of understanding in the emerging belief system surrounding consciousness. Through these quiet reflections, humans developed early notions of the mind, that it was complex, layered, responsive, and intimately tied to both the body and environment. These beliefs were tentative, unspoken, yet profoundly influential. They provided a gentle framework for understanding altered perception, guiding curiosity, fostering empathy, and nurturing the delicate interplay between self, others, and the natural world. And so, in the soft, meditative calm of these early moments, humans began to see themselves as more than physical beings. They glimpsed the contours of mind, the possibilities of awareness, and the subtle patterns linking thought, sensation, and experience. These ancient beliefs, quietly formed under firelight and smoke, laid the foundation for a lifelong human fascination with consciousness, perception, and the mysteries within. Knowledge, once discovered, rarely remains confined. In the quiet expanses of ancient landscapes, humans began to share insights, not only within their own group, but across distances, between tribes. Ideas about plants, perception, and the subtle workings of the mind slowly traveled on wind, water, and wordless gestures, weaving a delicate web of understanding across early human communities. Picture a misty valley at dawn. Smoke from a small fire curls gently toward the sky. One tribe prepares to meet another, their movements deliberate, cautious, and respectful. Children and elders walk together, carrying roots, leaves, or small bundles of aromatic plants. There is a sense of quiet anticipation. As though knowledge itself travels alongside them, the transmission of wisdom was rarely hurried. A subtle gesture here, a shared leaf there, a carefully observed reaction, all became vehicles for understanding. One tribe notices that inhaling smoke from a particular plant eases fear, another observes a different root calming pain. Through these exchanges, humans begin to see the potential for shared growth, for learning across boundaries, and for the collective expansion of consciousness. Imagine two small groups meeting in a clearing surrounded by ancient trees. Smoke rises from two fires, curling softly in the early light. Elders exchange subtle gestures, hands passing leaves and roots back and forth. Eyes meet in quiet understanding. There is no rush, no performance, only careful observation, trust, and the slow unfolding of shared knowledge. This spread of understanding is more than practical, it is relational. Humans begin to recognize that perception, insight, and empathy can be nurtured through connection. Learning from another tribe is an act of patience, observation, and attentiveness. Knowledge is not enforced, it is gently shared, absorbed, and internalized. Each new encounter expands the boundaries of awareness, linking individuals across distance through subtle, experimental understanding. Consider the soft patterns of light filtering through forest canopy. Leaves tremble in the breeze, reflecting muted greens and golden light onto calm faces. Humans inhale slowly, exchange subtle glances, and notice minute shifts in posture and expression. These quiet observations, repeated and shared, allow knowledge to grow organically. The human mind, once isolated in experience, begins to extend outward, touching other minds through careful, deliberate interaction. The journey of plants and perception also carries lessons in responsibility. Early humans learn that the knowledge they share is powerful, delicate, and must be respected. A misused plant, a misunderstood reaction, or hasty experimentation could bring discomfort or danger. Teaching becomes a careful art, blending empathy, observation, and patience. Knowledge spreads best when tempered with care and understanding. Picture a child observing elders exchanging roots and leaves, mimicking their gestures, absorbing subtle cues. A small fire burns softly nearby, smoke drifting upward, the muted palette of earthy browns, faded golds, and deep greens creating a serene atmosphere. Even the youngest humans begin to sense the quiet rhythm of shared knowledge, the way insight flows gently from one mind to another. Through these interactions, humans begin to form early networks of wisdom. A leaf here, a root there, a shared inhalation of smoke, becomes a thread connecting communities. Slowly, patterns emerge, which plants soothe, which calm, which deepen awareness. These patterns, observed carefully, spread through generations, forming the earliest bridges of cultural understanding. In the calm, reflective rhythm of these exchanges, humans begin to recognize something profound: knowledge is alive, and its journey depends on patience, empathy, and connection. A single plant, a gentle gesture, or a quiet observation can ripple outward, touching countless lives. Through these quiet transmissions, early humans learn not only about plants and perception, but about the delicate power of connection itself. And so, under the soft light of dawn, amidst curling smoke and calm whispers, knowledge travels, carried gently on hands, gestures, and observation, linking minds, tribes, and generations. The spread of understanding becomes a subtle, invisible web, quietly shaping human experience and laying the foundation for the intricate networks of wisdom that will grow over millennia. In the quiet rhythm of early human life, plants and natural substances were more than occasional curiosities, they became an integral part of daily existence. Leaves, roots, resins, and flowers found their way into meals, medicine, and moments of quiet reflection. Through careful observation, humans learned how these substances could alter perception, soothe discomfort, or enhance subtle experiences of the world. Picture a soft, early morning in a mossy clearing. Humans stir gently from sleep, gathering roots, leaves, and herbs. A small fire flickers to life, sending thin ribbons of smoke into calm air. Some chew leaves thoughtfully, others crush herbs into powders, observing the textures, smells, and effects. Each action is deliberate, attentive, and quiet, a meditation woven into the fabric of survival. Daily use of natural substances is subtle. They are not taken in haste or excess, instead, humans approach them with careful awareness. A root might ease fatigue, a leaf calm nerves, a resin enhance alertness. Through repeated observation, humans begin to understand both benefits and limitations. Every plant becomes a teacher, and every interaction a lesson in perception, patience, and responsibility. Imagine the muted palette of earthy browns, faded golds, and deep greens as humans move through the forest. One hand brushes moss, another gathers roots. Smoke curls gently above the fire, carrying aromas that awaken senses. Each inhale and taste is absorbed slowly, each reaction noted attentively. Through these quiet routines, humans refine an intimate knowledge of their environment and its subtle effects on the body and mind. The incorporation of natural substances into daily life also nurtures connection. A shared leaf becomes a gentle ritual. A communal preparation of roots or powders allows for observation, discussion, and reflection. These small acts reinforce trust, teach attention, and deepen awareness of both the physical and inner worlds. Knowledge is passed through observation, practice, and careful guidance, forming the earliest foundations of applied wisdom. Consider the forest environment itself. Soft light filters through tall trees, highlighting moss-covered stones and the gentle swirl of smoke. Humans move with calm deliberation, touching leaves, roots, and bark, observing color, texture, and aroma. The environment and the substances it provides are inseparable, both guides and companions in the ongoing exploration of consciousness. Even mundane activities, gathering water, preparing food, tending fires, become subtle opportunities to observe the effects of plants. A sip of herb-infused water, a slow chew of a bitter root, a shared inhalation of smoke, each action teaches lessons in patience, perception, and self-awareness. Over time, humans begin to recognize the interplay between mind, body, and environment. This daily interaction with nature fosters an intuitive understanding of cause and effect. Humans notice which substances calm fear, which stimulate thought, and which enhance shared experience. They learn to approach each plant with care, respect, and mindfulness. Mistakes are rare, small, and instructive, forming an ongoing dialogue between human and natural world. Imagine a quiet group gathered near a gentle fire, passing leaves and roots with careful hands. Smoke rises slowly into soft morning light, blending muted greens, browns, and golds. The humans' movements are deliberate, calm, almost ceremonial. Through this gentle rhythm, the early humans integrate natural substances seamlessly into life, cultivating both understanding and empathy. Through daily practice, humans not only survive, they begin to thrive in subtle, reflective ways. Natural substances become tools for awareness, connection, and insight. They transform ordinary routines into moments of learning, observation, and quiet exploration. In these calm, deliberate interactions, the foundations of human knowledge, culture, and consciousness continue to deepen, quietly shaping the rhythm of life and mind. In this steady, reflective pace, humans discover that the world offers guidance if observed attentively. Each plant, root, and leaf becomes a companion in the exploration of mind, body, and community. And in the calm integration of natural substances into daily life, humans take another gentle step toward understanding themselves, each other, and the subtle mysteries of perception. Even in their careful exploration of plants and substances, early humans soon realized that nature's gifts were not always entirely gentle. Every leaf, root, or resin carried potential for discovery and for discomfort. The mind is delicate, the body fragile, and the line between insight and disorientation is thin. Understanding the unknown became as essential as seeking the effects themselves. Picture a quiet clearing at dusk. Smoke drifts lazily from a small fire, blending with the muted gold and green tones of the forest. Humans sit together, calm but watchful. One inhales too deeply, another chews a root with unintended effect. Subtle shifts occur, slower breathing, slight dizziness. Widened eyes. These moments are brief, yet enough to teach caution, patience, and attentiveness. The risks are not always dramatic, but they are real. A plant that calms one individual might unsettle another. A resin that induces clarity in one mind could lead to disorientation in another. Through these quiet experiments, early humans slowly map the boundaries of safe practice, learning to observe, intervene gently, and adjust their approach. Knowledge and care begin to merge. Imagine the soft flicker of firelight on concerned faces. A shaman or experienced guide may place a gentle hand on a shoulder, offer a calming gesture, or simply sit silently nearby. Observation becomes a subtle art, teaching humans that every altered perception is unique, and that the unknown carries lessons as much as it carries risks. Beyond immediate discomfort, there is the deeper mystery. Sometimes effects are unpredictable. A plant inhaled once may produce a vivid vision, another day it may induce calm, or nothing at all. Humans begin to recognize that consciousness is variable, that the mind responds in intricate, mysterious ways, and that even the most familiar substance can surprise. Consider a narrow stream of smoke drifting through the twilight forest, humans sitting in reflective stillness, muted browns, deep greens, and faded gold surrounding them. There is curiosity, but also attentiveness. Early humans are learning not only from pleasure or insight but from subtle discomfort, confusion, and the unpredictable nature of altered perception. Even mundane mistakes become lessons. A root mischewed, a leaf overused, or smoke inhaled too rapidly teaches attentiveness, patience, and respect. These early interactions with risk cultivate subtle judgment, shaping the delicate balance between exploration and safety. Knowledge is not merely learned, it is earned through observation, care, and reflection. Imagine a young human stepping slightly away from the fire, eyes wide, inhaling the faint aroma of smoke with hesitation. An elder sits nearby, calm and reassuring, their hands guiding subtly. The forest around them is muted, still, and quiet, with shadows stretching across moss, rocks, and tree trunks. In these calm moments, humans integrate understanding of risk into their growing awareness of consciousness. The unpredictable effects of natural substances also teach empathy. Observing another's subtle discomfort, humans learn to recognize differences in perception, tolerance, and sensitivity. The community becomes a living network of care, gently adjusting, observing, and supporting one another. Risk and uncertainty become teachers of connection, patience, and understanding. Over time, these quiet lessons accumulate. Humans develop a nuanced appreciation for nature's potency. Each plant carries promise, caution, and subtle instruction. The mind, delicate and mysterious, is navigated with care. And through these early experiments, humans begin to understand that exploration of perception is not only about curiosity or pleasure, it is about responsibility, awareness, and the respect owed to both self and others. In the calm twilight of the ancient forest, humans slowly integrate knowledge, observation, and empathy. The risks and unknown effects are no longer feared, but acknowledged, reflected upon, and used to guide careful exploration. In these quiet, meditative moments, humans learn to navigate the delicate balance of discovery and caution, shaping both mind and culture in ways that will resonate for generations to come. As humans explored the mind, perception, and the delicate effects of plants, communities began to form collective attitudes, beliefs that shaped what was acceptable and what was forbidden. Some practices were quietly embraced, woven into the rhythm of daily life. Others were approached with caution, whispered about in fear, or relegated to strict boundaries. In this way, cultural acceptance and taboos emerged, guiding exploration of consciousness with both subtle encouragement and gentle restraint. Picture a soft morning in a forested clearing. Humans gather near a small fire, leaves and roots carefully prepared. Some handle plants confidently, passing them with calm hands. Others observe, hesitant, unsure of what is permitted. The air is still, light muted by dawn's early glow, creating a serene yet expectant atmosphere. Acceptance is shown in the gentle smiles, nods, and calm gestures, Caution is evident in averted eyes and careful distance. Cultural norms are not always rigid. They evolve slowly, shaped by experience, observation, and shared consequence. A plant that calms fear may become accepted as part of ritual, while another that produces disorientation may be reserved for elders or treated with caution. Communities quietly negotiate these boundaries, balancing curiosity with safety, fascination with responsibility. Imagine the soft flicker of firelight illuminating faces in muted earthy tones, browns, greens, and faded golds. Humans watch one another carefully, gauging reactions and learning what is socially acceptable. Each inhalation, each taste, each subtle response is noted, building a silent map of boundaries and possibilities. Acceptance is reinforced through calm observation and gentle practice, forming the earliest frameworks of cultural guidance. Taboos often emerge from the unpredictable. A plant that causes vivid visions or discomfort may inspire both awe and fear. Over time, humans develop unwritten rules: who may experiment, when, and in what context. These subtle codes preserve safety, prevent conflict, and embed collective wisdom into the social fabric. Observation becomes a quiet form of education, guiding each new generation in both discovery and restraint. Consider a serene forest scene where two humans pass a small leaf to one another. Elders watch nearby, guiding with soft gestures. The muted light filters through trees, highlighting moss, rocks, and the gentle curl of smoke. There is no urgency, only calm attention. Through these quiet interactions, humans internalize rules, taboos, and norms, learning when, where, and how exploration is appropriate. Even playful curiosity is tempered by cultural understanding. Children may watch quietly, imitating gestures without partaking, learning through observation. Adolescents may test limits under supervision, carefully exploring boundaries. Adults balance their own curiosity with responsibility, embodying both acceptance and restraint. In this way, culture guides perception, ensuring that the pursuit of altered consciousness is woven safely into communal life. Cultural acceptance is not uniform, it varies by tribe, environment, and experience. One community may embrace a calming plant in daily life. Another may revere it only for ritual. Practices shift with experience, observation, and consequence. Knowledge spreads not only through shared perception but also through the tacit agreement of what is safe, respectful, and socially sanctioned. Imagine a calm river reflecting soft morning light, smoke from nearby fires curling into the gentle sky. Humans sit quietly along the banks, some experimenting with roots, others observing attentively. Acceptance and taboo are subtle, embedded in gestures, glances, and expressions. Each action teaches the delicate balance between curiosity and caution, desire and restraint. Through this careful guidance, humans learn that social norms and cultural boundaries are as important as individual exploration. Knowledge is not only what is discovered, but how it is shared, experienced, and respected. Acceptance and taboo provide the rhythm and context in which curiosity can safely unfold, allowing exploration of the mind to continue with both wisdom and grace. In the calm, meditative moments of daily life, humans absorb these cultural cues. They learn that some practices are celebrated, others approached with care, and that both contribute to the delicate tapestry of shared perception. Through this interplay of acceptance and restraint, the human experience deepens, subtle, reflective, and profoundly interconnected with the social world around it. As time passed, humans did not simply use plants and substances, they began to explore consciousness itself. What started as curiosity gradually became a subtle, deliberate practice, a gentle journey into the inner landscapes of mind and perception. With each generation, understanding deepened, and the exploration of awareness evolved from accidental discovery into thoughtful observation and careful experimentation, picture a serene twilight forest. Smoke from a small fire rises softly, curling in lazy spirals that catch the fading light. Humans sit quietly around the fire, their expressions calm yet attentive. One inhales a fragrant leaf, another traces patterns in the dirt, observing subtle changes in posture and gaze. The atmosphere is still, meditative, as if time itself has slowed to accommodate the quiet unfolding of awareness. The evolution of consciousness is subtle. Early humans notice that perception shifts, that thought can expand, contract, or wander in unpredictable ways. Some begin to observe patterns in dreams or visions. Others see connections between plants, gestures, and inner experience. Slowly, humans learn that consciousness is not fixed, it is fluid, dynamic, and responsive to careful attention and gentle influence. Imagine humans experimenting together, passing leaves or roots with soft care, inhaling smoke, and observing effects in calm, deliberate silence. A shaman or elder may guide quietly, offering insight without force. Each subtle interaction becomes a lesson, patience, mindfulness, and attunement to both body and mind. These moments are not dramatic or overwhelming, they are gentle explorations, small revelations in the quiet flow of life. Humans begin to realize that exploration is not only external but internal. The mind can be observed, reflected upon, and gently influenced. Even simple practices, watching the breath, noticing a heartbeat, feeling the warmth of a fire, become tools for understanding perception. Plants and substances act as guides, revealing the fluidity of experience, the subtle interplay between attention and awareness. Consider the forest itself. Soft shadows fall across mossy stones, leaves glimmer faintly in the last light, and smoke drifts in the gentle breeze. Each human sits in calm reflection, eyes tracing patterns in the fire, hands gently handling leaves, roots, or small bundles of aromatic plants. Observation is slow, deliberate, intimate, a quiet dialogue between mind, body, and environment. The evolution of consciousness also nurtures empathy and connection. Humans observe one another, noticing subtle shifts in expression, posture, and energy. Through shared experience, they learn that perception is unique, that awareness varies from person to person. The community becomes a living mirror, reflecting the mysteries of consciousness back to each individual. Imagine a small group at the edge of a river, smoke curling softly above the water, reflections shimmering in muted golden and green tones. Humans exchange leaves, inhale gently, and sit in attentive silence. There is no urgency, no spectacle, only calm, deliberate observation. The exploration of consciousness is slow, reflective, and profoundly immersive. Over time, these practices evolve into ritual, custom, and tradition. Knowledge of the mind becomes interwoven with daily life, ceremonial practice, and communal observation. Humans begin to recognize patterns, subtle rules, and safe pathways. They develop intuitive understanding of what is possible within consciousness, guided by both experience and the wisdom of elders. In the soft twilight of early human life, the exploration of consciousness becomes a quiet art. Humans learn to navigate subtle inner shifts, to observe with calm attention, and to share insights gently. Knowledge of the mind evolves not as a sudden revelation, but as a slow, patient accumulation of observation, reflection, and careful experimentation. Through this evolution, humans begin to understand themselves in ways no written language could yet capture. They learn that awareness is a landscape, rich and complex, shaped by both environment and attention. Plants, smoke, roots, and leaves guide this journey, but the deepest revelations emerge from careful observation, quiet reflection, and the shared understanding that consciousness is both mysterious and malleable. In the calm embrace of firelight and fading daylight, humans continue to explore, slowly and deliberately, the vast interior world of mind. This gentle evolution of consciousness lays the foundation for future generations, a quiet legacy of curiosity, patience, and subtle insight that will ripple through time, shaping the way humans understand themselves and each other. At first, humans engaged with plants and substances out of necessity. Some were food, some medicine, some tools for coping with pain or fear. Survival was the priority. Yet slowly, something remarkable occurred, the focus shifted. Humans began to explore not only for survival, but for experience, curiosity, insight, reflection, and even subtle enjoyment. Consciousness itself became a landscape to wander, not merely a tool to endure. Picture an early morning, soft light spilling across a forest floor. Humans move with calm deliberation, gathering roots, leaves, and resins. One inhales smoke with gentle curiosity, observing the subtle shift in perception. Another chews a root, savoring not only its effects, but the quiet process of discovery itself. There is no urgency, only deliberate attention and mindful engagement. The transition from survival to experience is gradual. Early humans begin to notice sensations, colors, sounds, and textures that might have gone unnoticed when preoccupied with necessity. A bird's song is sharper, leaves glimmer more vividly in the light, a ripple in a stream becomes a quiet fascination. Humans learn to savor perception itself, noticing how subtle shifts alter understanding of the world around them. Imagine a small group moving through a forest clearing, moss underfoot, smoke from a distant fire drifting lazily. Each person explores in quiet solitude yet together, observing the effects of a leaf, a root, or the smoke itself. There is no competition, no urgency, only attentive observation and subtle reflection. Each moment becomes an experience, not a survival task. Humans also begin to document understanding in memory and gesture. Patterns emerge, which plants calm, which stimulate, which open perception in unexpected ways. Shared stories and observations are whispered quietly, becoming gentle guides for others. Knowledge begins to shift from practical necessity to nuanced insight, forming the earliest threads of experience-driven wisdom. Consider the soft palette of muted browns, deep greens, and faded golds as humans sit near a riverbank. Some trace the patterns of flowing water with fingers, others inhale smoke, feeling subtle warmth or calm. The forest itself seems to participate, trees and stones reflecting soft light, birds singing faintly, water shimmering gently. Experience unfolds slowly, gently, like a whispered secret of the natural world. Even play and experimentation emerge. Humans test boundaries safely, observing both internal sensation and environmental response. Each small exploration contributes to a deeper understanding, not merely of survival, but of perception, emotion, and reflection. The line between utility and curiosity begins to blur. Plants, smoke, and roots are no longer solely tools, they are companions in a journey of subtle experience. Imagine a quiet clearing with humans sharing leaves and roots, observing each other's reactions. Smoke drifts through muted dawnlight, shadows stretching softly across moss and rock. Humans exchange gentle glances and soft smiles, connecting through shared exploration. The focus is no longer survival alone, it is subtle, communal experience, observation, and awareness. Through this evolution, humans discover that existence itself can be observed, savored, and understood in deeper, more intricate ways. The mind is not merely a survival tool, it is a canvas, a landscape, a quiet theater of perception. Awareness becomes both a personal journey and a shared rhythm, linking individuals through subtle, reflective experience. In the calm, meditative pace of early human life, survival and experience intertwine. Humans learn that each plant, each inhalation, each subtle observation offers not just sustenance or relief, but insight, connection, and reflection. Through this gentle evolution, consciousness becomes a space to explore, savor, and understand not only what it means to survive, but what it means to live, even in small, quiet ways. And so, under soft morning light and curling smoke, humans move beyond necessity. They begin to navigate perception, awareness, and experience with quiet curiosity. Survival remains present, but it is tempered by reflection, empathy, and the gentle pursuit of understanding, the first hints of a world where consciousness is both a tool and a space for discovery. As the sun dips below the horizon and twilight drapes the ancient forests in muted gold and green, we arrive at the quiet culmination of an extraordinary journey. Humans, once preoccupied solely with survival, have gradually discovered something profoundly subtle. The mind itself is a landscape, a space to explore, reflect upon, and gently navigate. Through leaves, roots, smoke, and observation, early humans opened doors to perception that were as fragile as they were transformative. Picture the gentle flicker of a small fire, smoke curling lazily into the cooling air. Humans sit around it, some inhaling slowly, others tracing patterns in the dirt. The forest around them is calm, almost reverent. Each tree and stone bathed in muted twilight tones. The experiences of the past, curiosity, experimentation, caution, and wonder, have converged here, creating a rhythm of life where mind, body, and environment exist in quiet harmony. From accidental discoveries to deliberate rituals, from playful curiosity to careful observation, the evolution of consciousness has been gradual, almost imperceptible. Each generation built upon the knowledge of the last, threading insight, empathy, and caution into the fabric of daily life. What began as survival has become experience. What began as experimentation has grown into understanding. Humans have learned that plants are teachers, guiding attention to subtle shifts in thought and perception. Smoke drifts gently, leaves are chewed thoughtfully, roots are ground with care, all gestures of respect for the mind's delicate potential. The community itself becomes a mirror, reflecting individual experiences back into shared understanding, creating a web of awareness that stretches beyond the self. Imagine a quiet clearing under the soft glow of a fading sun. Shadows stretch lazily across moss and stones. Humans sit in stillness, reflecting, observing, and sometimes simply breathing in the scent of smoke and earth. There is no urgency, no expectation, only the gentle, deliberate rhythm of awareness unfolding in calm harmony with nature. Even the unpredictable and the risky have contributed to this evolution. Mistakes, discomfort, and surprise have been teachers in their own right. They instilled caution, patience, and empathy. Humans learn to observe, to respect boundaries, and to understand that exploration of the mind is a journey that cannot be rushed or forced. The quiet lessons of risk are as profound as the discoveries themselves. Across generations, acceptance and taboo guided practice, ensuring that curiosity did not become harm, that experimentation remained intertwined with care. And in this balance, humans discovered something more profound than knowledge alone: connection. Connection to each other, to the natural world, and to the inner landscapes of thought and perception. Consider the muted glow of the fire against the evening sky, the soft rustle of leaves in the cool breeze, the calm gaze of humans observing one another. Experience has shifted from mere survival to reflective engagement with consciousness itself. Humans have learned not only to endure the world but to perceive it in ways that awaken subtle wonder, empathy, and insight. And now, as night fully descends and stars begin to sprinkle the sky with faint light, the story of early humans experimenting with mind-altering plants feels less like a chapter in survival and more like the beginning of a quiet revolution. A gentle change, almost imperceptible, yet enduring, a shift in perception that will ripple through generations, leaving traces of curiosity, reflection, and awareness long after the fires are extinguished. As you settle into this story tonight, let your thoughts slow, your breath deepen, and your mind drift gently. Consider the quiet humans of long ago, sitting by fires, inhaling the soft aroma of leaves and smoke, discovering subtle wonders in their own consciousness. Their journey was slow, patient, and delicate, but it shaped the contours of experience and awareness for all who came after. And as you close your eyes, perhaps you will wonder, how much of our own perception is still a quiet landscape, waiting to be explored? How much of our world is shaped by subtle curiosity, reflection, and gentle attention? And how much more lies hidden, quietly guiding the human mind through its endless, mysterious journey? Good night.